Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
All right. So, if there was one person, dead or alive, that you could interview, who would it be and why? Um, I can start it off. Um, Mine would be The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
You gotta do the eyebrow.
Yeah.
You smell that?
So yeah, growing up as a little kid with all boys in the house, TV, all just watching wrestling the whole time. Um, Dwayne The Rock Johnson was the guy to look up to. And I guess, yeah, he's known to be that one wrestler, does the eye. And eventually, after he left wrestling, he jumped on just so many different adventures that, a lot of people didn't expect he would go into. First off, acting. That was one thing that really stunned people. He was in multiple movies, and also, recently, like Moana, and what is it? He's been just that role model for like any fitness junkie out there. And yeah, he's just been playing the role of just being a leader in our society today. He's such an influential person. Um, and yeah, I've had the opportunity to interview him. I mean, first I would be starstruck just looking at that big rock right in front of me, literally the rock in front of me. Yeah, I would, if I had like one question to ask him, I would probably ask him like, what inspired you to just take on so many roles when it comes to just anything in life, whether it's an actor, a wrestler, motivational speaker, or yeah, anything. Because that's he wears different hats, and he over the years he's just created a brand for himself that anywhere you go you see the rock. There's only one rock in this world, and yeah, his positivity and just positive influence throughout just our society is pretty key. And I wouldn't be surprised if he decided to run for president.
In the long run. A very strong candidate.
Yes.
Who be his running mate? Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Bautista. Yeah, so it could be anybody. But yeah, that is definitely the person I would love to interview. Yeah, true role model right there. And he's also from Hawaii as well.
Exactly.
Let's throw that beginnings. In. Yes. Yeah. How about you, Scott? Who, dead or alive, who would you want to interview? It could be someone famous, not famous, anybody.
If language wasn't a problem and all they told was honesty, they can't lie to me. I probably would want to interview probably my mom or my dad, just because, or like one of my like grandpa or grandma, just because I know literally nothing of my childhood. I know so little about my family history. I know we talked a little bit about origins and why origins is so important. You gotta know yourself and your family tree and your lineage. And I just don't know how to use my Vietnamese language to communicate with my auntie, my mom, my dad. I'm like, I want to learn so much about our past, and I just don't know how to do it. So it's almost like missing, right? And the people that do know how to speak and translate for me, they're just not currently available. So you know, and of course I want full honesty. I like at my
Yeah.
age, I don't really care if like someone betrayed another person, someone whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. Because keep in mind, Vietnam in the
Mhm.
20, 30 years ago was like the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
Things, and it's still it's developed, but then it's still kind of crazy there.
Yeah.
Um, but I just want to know more about me. Like, you know, how did our family come to be? Like, what were we in the past? You know, what do we do? You
Mm.
know, how was our family raised, and how did we live? And I just want to know all about that. Just I have a deep yearning for to learn about self, and you know that's why this podcast is such a passion for me because we're exploring ourselves so deeply, you know, and we're taking out the can of worms and all the vulnerability and all that stuff. So, you know, just being able to ask them questions and get honest answers, you know, and so I can pass it on to my kids. Like
Yeah.
this was your great great grandpa. This is what you know, because they had to go through the war back in the day. You know, this is what they fought. This is what they believed in. This is what they sacrificed their life for.
Mhm.
And I want my kids to know like this is their lineage and this is
Yeah.
what they're about and this is their legacy and these are the principles that have stood throughout our family history. And you know, it's up to you if you want to carry on that flag and continue to treat people nicely, continue to grow and learn, continue to keep being disciplined, take ownership and such.
Yeah.
So yeah, like someone from my family, like it doesn't matter. Maybe I think my mom, my dad would know the most. My grandpa, my
Mhm.
grandma. So
Yeah. I feel. I mean, I really like that answer because I can kind of empathize the way you feel too. Because like for me, I feel kind of lost because I don't know as much about my family history as well.
mm,
And yeah, for you to kind of mention that as well, it's it makes me curious to wonder like if there's other people, not just you and I, that are experiencing the same thing. Like
mm-hmm,
trying to figure out a way to just learn a little bit more about our family history, where our family came from, and all that. Especially for like a lot of us Asians. I mean, the Asian community in Hawaii is huge, and we're all like what third generation, second, third generation, and a lot of us kind of lose touch with who we are. We don't know our history and all that. And yeah, to have that motivation to find some sort of resource to learn that is, yeah, it's benefiting yourself and eventually your kids, because then even they might ask you later on like, oh, how was grandpa, how was grandma, how was
mm-hmm,
great grandpa, how did they come to Hawaii, or how did they come to America? That's a story that we all want to know and understand the journey that it took for them to go from their motherland country over to America.
mm-hmm,
And yeah, it makes us very appreciative of, yeah, just our history and the journey that everybody took to come to this place that we call home now.
mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, if your children are immigrants, the first thing that they do is they try to assimilate with American culture, and at the same time, they almost kind of abandon um, their country's culture, you know, in order for you to fit in and for them to fit in with neighbors and such. And of
Yeah.
course, there still be some, you know, traits and habits that they brought back from their culture. But you know, for a generation like us, where we have the yearn to learn more about that,
Mhm.
you know, my parents, they're pretty kind of closed off on like, you know, you don't need to know about that. You know, that's
Mm.
of the past, but it's important that we do know about that. And it's sometimes frustrating because I want to spend time learning about this. I want to spend time talking about that. You know, even with my limited Vietnamese, I still are able to, you know, put some words in there, but just they they don't have the patience or the willingness to go down that road with me. And it is kind of frustrating when when your kids do ask you about those type of things. It's like, what do you say? Oh yeah, your grandpa and grandma were too stubborn to teach me, so
Yeah,
go read from a textbook.
That's the thing when it comes to just researching through a textbook and just Googling everything. You don't really get the authenticity or the true value of your own family history. So
that's why I think Hawaiian culture is so awesome, so dope. It's like their culture and teachings and language is passed through songs and dance, and there's like halaus, there's schools, there's people interested in it, and I just wish there was something like that for the Vietnamese culture and the Vietnamese language. We just I know there's a big population here, and we just it's not as like the norm, as like Hawaiian.
As like Hawaiian culture. I know, Hawaiian culture is very elevated, especially, the fact that we live in Hawaii. And it is a dying culture, unfortunately. But, I see a lot of people just embracing Hawaiian culture as much as possible, like whether it's just dance, music, different events, all of that. It's very, it's so nice to see that just like, constantly.
And you'll be surprised about like Hawaii's influence, like internationally. There's people teaching hula, there's people teaching like scriptures, chants. In like Japan, there's schools up there, and they come to Hawaii just to learn. So I just wish there was something like that for my culture, Vietnamese.
Well, you could start something. I am trying to learn more about Filipino culture as well, and I feel like there are people like not even our age or any other generation that's kind of feeling the same way, just like kind of lost in what their culture is, and they want to learn more about their family. So it is a project that could help us discover a lot more about who we are.
We need more friends that are historians.
Yes, we'll put out an ad.
And if you're a historian, please hit us up. We need friends and we need info.
Yes, please help us.